Hello, friends. Hello, my fellow creatives. Welcome. I am Imani the writer, and this is the Healing Creative Podcast, where I, a Black girl creative, take you on my healing journey, where I heal through my craft. Feel free to join me. Every episode, I'll be doing something creative, whether it's sketching, drawing, painting, writing, and I would love to invite you to do the same if that's what you're feeling, if you feel called to. No pressure at all. Feel free to just enjoy listening, and I hope you enjoy the show. Today, I am doing my hair because doing my hair is a creative activity. And I need to learn to see it that way instead of seeing it as or something I have to do as part of a routine, because a lot of creativity and a lot of innovation goes into the process. So I have all of my materials with me. I have my hair products. I have little tools like combs, little brush, these little pins. I don't know how to describe them, but they're little pins that kind of help me section off the hair and retwist everything. I've got some beads. I've got some accessories, little rubber bands. If you hear any sounds in the background, that's me messing around with my hair products. Hope you don't mind. But yeah, that's what I'm working on today. And because I'm working on my hair, I thought it would be a good idea to actually talk about hair, to talk about my relationship with my own hair as a Black woman, what my hair journey has been like specifically, talk about some insecurities that may have come up that have to do with my hair and how I've been healing it, how I've been healing through it, how I've been healing those insecurities. What's been working for me specifically. I can't speak for every Black woman, but I can definitely speak for myself. I'm also excited to explore other ways that I might be interested in healing some of those hair insecurities that I might have, especially exploring them through creative outlets. So let's get into it. Let's get into the show. Let's start off with just a quick overview of my hair for anybody who cares. I have locks. I have had my locks for about what am I thinking? It's 6 years. No, actually, yeah, the reason I brought up 2 is because I got my locks when I was 20. I'm 26 now, so it's about 6 years, but I did it in June. So in June it'll be 6 years. So for now, it's 5.5 at the time of this recording. But yeah, I have exactly 79 locks on my head. So hilarious that it's 79 and not just one more, and it would be it would be 80 exactly, a nice even number. But there's something about that that's kind of cute that I kind of like, oh, you're 79. Just one off, but still gorgeous and amazing. I don't know why I did that. I just put a lock in my mouth for a second just to hold it in place. But I forgot, girl, you are a podcaster. One thing I will definitely be sure to let you guys know, perfection is definitely not the goal here with this podcast, because perfection is not the goal with healing or art and creativity. I find that when I strive for perfection in a thing, it just needlessly stresses me out. So we're just going to be here. We're going to vibe today. You know what I'm saying? So I hope you don't mind the sounds. Just treat it as extra texture to the audio. Treat it like you're just chatting with a friend, because that's how I see it. That's how I see you guys. Just chatting with friends. But yes. Anything else you should know about my locks? For anyone interested, I would say that I have type 4A, 4B-ish, if that's even accurate. The hair typing system is so inaccurate. I don't know what on earth 4A or even means at this point. The most important thing though is that I have low porosity locks. I would say they're about 22 inches long. I have to measure again. That was what they were the last time I measured. But yeah, around 22 inches. They're pretty long, which I love. I'm super excited to see them grow even longer. I'm trying to be Rapunzel, bruh. That is what I am trying to be. So what am I doing for today's wash day? I washed it already. I used my Rev Air hair dryer to dry it already. I'll leave it in the description box below for anyone who doesn't know what that is. It's just a different type of hair dryer that kind of functions more like a vacuum, like a heated vacuum. So it kind of sucks the moisture out of your hair in a way. I got it recently because my locks have gotten a lot longer and it feels like I'm going to need something a little bit more sophisticated to be able to make sure that they get dry by the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? It's not a good thing to keep them wet while when you go to bed. You know, it's not a good thing. So I got it and it's been really, really helpful. So I would say that's a pretty solid overview of just what's going on in my head. I want to talk a little bit about my hair journey before I locked my hair. So, like every Black girl in elementary school, your mom always like took care of your natural hair. They put little bubbles and bows in your hair and everything like that. In middle school, I don't know what kind of happened, but I was still dealing with my natural hair. And I was told constantly that my hair was a hot mess for the way that it naturally grew out of my head. And I went to a predominantly Black middle school, but all the girls had their hair permed. All the Black girls had their hair permed. Only like a handful of Black girls did not have their hair permed. And they were mostly like wearing braids and stuff like that. Really cute little styles here and there. But I kind of just had it in like this puff at times. And I was constantly told that it was a hot mess. But middle school also, at some point, I would say that's kind of what I was told in like the 6th grade. The 7th grade is when I started experimenting with braids and going to like the African hair braiding salons to get my hair braided, which was interesting for sure. But that's when, once I started getting it braided, people kind of started leaving me alone with my hair, not really judging it as much, not giving me as much of a hard time, which was nice. But in high school, I started switching things up. I started doing silk presses. I just called them blowouts because I would go to the Dominican hair salons and get it blown out. But now I'm understanding that what I did was a silk press. So I was consistently doing silk presses for a while. And then the Dominican hair salon I always went to moved. So I started kind of doing them myself, even though they never quite came out as silky, but they still came out like nice. You know what I mean? Whew, I can't tell you what on earth I did. I figured something out when I was in high school, but I could not. I really, really doubt that I could replicate what I did if I had to do it again now. But I still, from time to time, would also get it braided. And I wore the occasional weave. And I liked everything that I did. I was definitely treated much better because of experimenting with the occasional weave and everything like that. Occasionally too, I also wore my hair out in this really cute curly fro. I had put my hair in like these Bantu knots with cholesterol conditioner, and it was honestly so cute and so adorable, but for whatever reason, I just hated it. I think that I just returned like a lot of really negative messaging about and around my hair. And I wanted it to be long. I wanted length. I was obsessed with length. And in some ways, I still am. You know what I mean? I liked my locks when they were short, but I love them now that they're long. But yeah, I retained a lot of just negative messaging. So when I had to wear the cute little fro, it was kind of just like a thing that I would do. Like, oh, it's time for a wash day. My silk press is just not silken, and I got to do something because I'm not ready to do my wash day quite yet. I still have a few more days in the week before the weekend. So that's what I would do. I would just kind of do this little fro. A teeny weeny curly fro. I made the decision to get locks, though, in college, my sophomore year specifically. And I did it for a couple of reasons. One, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, but I went to school upstate New York. I went to SUNY Geneseo, and Geneseo is literally in the middle of nowhere. So there was a lack of hair resources available to me. When I ended up doing my freshman years, I would have to get it braided in Brooklyn and then go off to school. And then every break, I would have to come down and try and be like, okay, what am I going to do with my hair? What am I going to do next with my hair? I don't know. And it would just give me a lot of anxiety and stress. that I didn't need, that I didn't like every single break, because every single break I had to think of something. And that just wasn't always a pleasant feeling. Another reason I did it was financial. Now, granted, this is all in my head. My parents would have paid for whatever needed to be done with my hair. But I felt that since I was over the age of 18, I needed to try my best to not really bother my parents about money unless it was absolutely necessary. And I just felt that my hair was not an absolute necessity. You know what I mean? So I felt guilty whenever I had to ask them for money for my hair. Like, even though hair is, like, it is a necessity. That's especially so when you're a Black woman in predominantly white spaces. How you wear your hair can really determine how you're treated in the world. Not even just in predominantly white spaces, but also just in Black spaces. There's a lot of anti-Blackness everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So even though it was a necessity, it wasn't like a live or die necessity. So I just always felt uncomfortable. Now, that was just me being me. Honestly, like, it wasn't that serious. My parents would have helped me, but it just was always something that I felt uncomfortable with. So I wanted to find a solution that would allow me to just kind of be able to take care of myself and my own hair. So that was one of the reasons. And also to do so without having to spend too much money, without having to depend on anyone else for money, but also without necessarily putting myself in debt. You know what I'm saying? Another reason was also just lifestyle reasons. Like, I didn't want to struggle and strain and put so much effort into thinking about what my next move with my hair was going to be. I wanted to just, this song that actually is just popping up in my head, I may have mentioned Alicia Renice in another video or in another podcast or whatever. She has this song, like, you deserve ease and a life of peace. And that's just so true. Like, that's what I felt like. I wanted ease in my life in general, but especially when it came to my hair. I wanted something easy. And that's not to say I'm not trying to like upset anyone and try and insinuate that Black hair is hard. But let's be real, it is hard when you're actively trying to make it do something that it doesn't naturally do. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're trying to, it's effort. When you're trying to straighten it, when you're trying to curl it, when you're trying to make it have a curl pattern that it doesn't maintain on its own and naturally, like, it is harder to deal with natural hair when you're really not actually dealing with natural hair, right? So I wanted something that was actually natural, that looked nice, and that was easy. Easy for me to deal with, easy for me to manage. Something I didn't have to think about every day or even every week if I really wanted to. Like, I just wanted it to be, I wanted to be able to just wake up and go most days. So locking my hair, and another reason too is that my family was also locking their hair. Multiple family members were locking their hair. So I was just like, okay, it seems very much aligned with what it is that I truly want to start experiencing and the lifestyle that I want to have with my own hair. So I decided to lock mine too. Fun fact though, everyone has cut off their locks now. Like, me and my mom are the only ones in our family now, in our immediately family at least, who still have their locks. And my mom's locks aren't like her hair isn't, all of her head is not completely locked either, but only my hair is, all of it. Like, all of it is actually locked. So it's very interesting that I'm one of the only ones left that really decided to keep this up. And everyone had their own reasons for cutting off theirs, but these were the initial reasons that I decided to lock mine. One thing I forgot to mention earlier in the beginning is that I'm experimenting with adding a different kind of texture to my hair. If you're watching this on YouTube, maybe I'll include like a picture or a video of what I am doing right now, but just like adding a few strands of hair that are a looser texture than my own, just to see what they would look like in these 2-strand twists that I'm doing with my locks right now. I'm trying it out on one just to see how I like it. If I'm not vibing with it, I will just do my twists the way that I normally do. But this is why I decided to record while doing my hair because this is a very creative process, especially when you're trying something new. That's, for the most part, my lock journey and how it's been. Now, one thing I want to mention too is what having locks does for me, how it benefits my life, because it really does benefit my life in ways that I didn't even really think about when I first initially got them. Like I said, the motivation was, for the most part, very focused on financial and the fact that I was in an area where I didn't have the resources I needed to keep up with the braiding and the silk presses and all that stuff. And I also just wanted something easier because I was stressed out at school. So the stress of school, I didn't need to add to that by being stressed out about my hair too. But the benefits have been not only those, not only did those things actually work out for me, but also I got a lot of really wonderful, emotional, and spiritual, I would say, benefits to this lock journey. It's actually been very healing when it comes to a lot of the insecurities that I had when I was in middle school. A lot of the insecurities around my hair, a lot of the insecurities I had around just my desirability and things like that. Because I felt really badly about my hair at one point. But locking my hair made me really build my confidence over time. It meant something to me to see my hair truly in its natural state, the way it's growing out of my head, to see that and to see it as beautiful, and for it to be easy for me to just be able to wake up like that 90% of the time. That's meant something to me. It did something for me. It made me realize that there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing about my body, about my hair that needs fixing, that needs straightening, that needs to bend to the will of whatever products will make me tick a few more boxes when it comes to conventional beauty standards. There's nothing about me that needed to be held down so that I am neat in the eyes of people who really don't fuck with me like that. You know what I mean? There is a freedom in waking up every day as I am, bare face, nothing going on with my hair that's not uniquely mine. There's a benefit and a beauty in seeing that every day, knowing that it's beautiful and knowing that it's mine and nothing about it needs to change whatsoever. I felt so much more connected. I had permission to truly be connected with the essence of me, with the authenticity of me. Something about my locks just inspired me to just let go of other conventions. I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm completely just not living a conventional lifestyle whatsoever. I do have a job in corporate America, and I don't plan on leaving that job. I still kind of, some ways, exist within the parameters of this society. And I don't necessarily, in ways that I don't necessarily plan on changing. That's fine. But when it comes to the way that I look and who I am to the core, I'm recognizing that nothing actually has to change. That this is beautiful, that this is fine as is. And that was a very important healing experience for me, and it still is. Now, one thing I do want to kind of mention and talk about are some of the hair insecurities that I still have, because even though most of my hair insecurities are gone, there are some that not necessarily remain, but they're just different. They're different from the ones that I had in middle school. I've noticed lately, and I'm wondering if and hoping that this might just be the result of my algorithm, because I think that my TikTok algorithm, my Instagram, and my YouTube algorithm, these platforms at this point, I'm very, very certain are aware that I have locks simply because of the content that I'm watching around my locks. So I'm hoping that that's just the case, but I've just been watching and noticing lately that a lot of people have been cutting their locks off or combing them out. And not only are they doing that, but they're not combing it out to wear natural hairstyles. They're not wearing their loose natural hair either. They're doing silk presses or they are doing the wigs and the weaves again. Just to be clear though, I know people might hear this and be like, oh, a silk press is still natural. And I agree to some extent, but that's not the way your hair grew out of your head. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like natural hair is your hair the way it grows out of your head. At the very least, in the contexts that I am thinking of. Like, I don't think a silk press is a natural hairstyle. I think your hair is still natural simply because it's not permed. But a silk press is not a natural hairstyle to me. I could be wrong, though. I'm open to other interpretations and all that good stuff, all that jazz. But the point is, it's just trending more so to just do away with natural hair altogether. I'm hoping that that's just my algorithm, but a few natural hair content creators that I watch have been noticing the same things. And it's a bit concerning to me. Like, what's happening? Why are we doing this? Is there some sort of cultural shift happening? I've been seeing it's trending also. Like, a lot of people have been going back to perming their hair too. And that kind of makes me sad. At the end of the day, you can never make me like hate a Black woman or not respect a Black woman for any decision that she does, particularly to her hair. What you do with your hair at the end of the day is your decision. And not everyone, like, it's easy for some people to be like, oh, you should wear your natural hair. Why aren't you wearing your natural hair? Judging other Black women for not wearing their natural hair. But like, first and foremost, the ability to wear my hair this way is a gift. And it's a gift that not everybody has. You know, there could be health related reasons for why someone is not necessarily making the choice, but just having no choice but to do something else with their hair besides what I am doing. So I like to just kind of reserve judgment in those situations because you really don't know what's going on with everybody. You don't know everybody's story. You don't know everybody's situation. And it's not fair to judge before you have all the facts. You know what I'm saying? But still, it is a sad thing to see in such wild numbers, everybody cutting off their locks or combing off their locks. To go backwards, to go back to before the natural hair movement. And granted, a lot of people have a lot of very valid critique for the natural hair movement. It's definitely not for us as Black women anymore. But I think it's much deeper than that. I feel like there is definitely a shift towards going back to conservatism. And I think that impacts a lot of decisions when it comes to fashion, when it comes to hair care. There's a desire to kind of go back. Even like, I know that there was that whole tradwife situation was trending at one point. Like, it just felt like there's a cultural shift that is discouraging us from being ourselves and encouraging us to go back to trying to assimilate and doing the whole respectability politics thing. And that makes me nervous. It does. And it starts to make me feel not necessarily insecure about my hair itself, but I feel as though it makes me nervous for how I'll be treated. If I'll start being treated differently, if I'll start being looked at differently within the Black community. And let's talk about desirability for a bit and dating. I look in the mirror and know that I am a beautiful woman. And I know not just by looking at myself, but because of the very kind compliments that I do receive occasionally from other people. Dating has always been something that was a little bit difficult for me. Granted, I'm very grateful that I never really had any experiences that were especially bad, but it's very rare for me to have. It's usually because I'm just not experiencing anything at all. You know what I mean? And that's kind of just, it was always just interesting to me. Like, if I'm as beautiful as people say, if I'm as beautiful as I see myself to be in the mirror, I feel like I should be having very different experiences. And I'm wondering if it's because of my locks. I'm wondering if it's because when people see me, look, for one, I'm not saying that they don't think that I'm beautiful because, hello, you have to be like, well, let me not say that. I know I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea because Black people in general are not everyone's cup of tea. But it's not that people don't necessarily think that I'm beautiful, but I wonder if that people, and especially men, see my beauty as something a little bit too far outside of convention. I definitely walk and get like looks and double takes, but it's very rare for people to walk up and talk to me. I wonder if that's because even though they recognize that I'm beautiful, I might be beautiful in a way that's a bit too far outside of what they were raised to believe was beautiful, if that makes sense. I don't know. I think at the core of it all, it really is just that I'm not around enough men in a day-to-day life, maybe. But even when I am, I don't really, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if that's the reason why. Now, granted. And another thing too, like it just felt like in the Black community, Black women are celebrated for their beauty when they are wearing wigs and weaves. But at the same time, those same Black men, there are Black men that are like, oh, I hate when women wear wigs and weaves and da, da, da. On one hand, they hate it, but on the other hand, these are the women you date. These are the women you marry. There are plenty of Black women that don't do that and you don't see them. You don't pay attention. So what's happening? So sometimes I feel a little insecure about that. Not to the point, at the end of the day though, even if those things were true, I don't really give it too much time or attention because I'm not doing anything about that. You know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do? Cut my locks off just because I'm worried that people think I'm too different? Like, fuck that. Like, I benefit too much from having this hair. It's too beautiful. It's too wonderful. It's too amazing for me to cut it off or comb it out for such a stupid reason. You know what I mean? It is healing to me to see myself this way and to know that I am beautiful and to love the way that I look. And regardless, there's always going to be someone who finds me beautiful as I am. And that's just a fact. There's always going to be somebody. Always. It may just be that I need to go to those spaces where my particular beauty is admired, where my particular beauty is celebrated. And it might be as simple as going to a different cafe, going to a different, place to hang out, but it may be as complicated as relocating to a new city, which is something I've been thinking a little bit about lately. So I'm not entirely sure, but the point is, I'm not going to entertain the idea that I am wrong anymore. This is simply the product of the society that we live in, and it serves the ways that it serves to uphold white supremacy, the ways it serves to uphold misogyny, the way it serves to uphold everything that I am not and that I don't abide by, that I don't believe in. So I'm gonna just do my thing and show up as me unapologetically. Now, I want to talk a little about how I have been healing these insecurities, how I've been going about them, what's been helpful for me, and what sorts of things I'm going to be exploring more in the future. Like I said, waking up in the morning and actually seeing myself with my natural hair and looking beautiful every single day and knowing that that is me, knowing that is mine is extremely helpful. Even if I am not validated by anybody else, when I wake up in the morning and see that myself with my own two eyes every single day without fail, that means something to me and it's important to me. Another thing that has been really helpful, well, I wouldn't say helpful, it's something I'm cautious about, actually. So like I said, I'm adding a looser textured hair to my twists right now. I'm experimenting with that. I've never done it before. And I have some cautions about it. The reason why is because, like I said, it's meaningful to me to see myself in my hair as beautiful as it is, as it naturally grows out of my head. So adding a looser textured hair to my hair is something that I don't necessarily want to make a habit. I don't want to have to keep that looser textured hair in my head for a long period of time. And I don't plan on it. Like I said, I'm doing a twist out type situation. I only really plan on keeping these twists in for about a week max. Like, I'm keeping them in over the weekend and I'm going to take out one thing I've been doing, I've been taking out some of the bottom back row but keeping the twist in the front so that it has this really beautiful boho look. And I might wear that to work this week. And then the next week, I'll just take out everything and it'll be a full twist out. You know what I mean? Also, this hair is cheap, so it tangles a lot and it's really annoying. So I'm definitely not planning on keeping this in very long. But I kind of feel like, and this is just me talking, this is just me. I don't want to see myself with a hair texture that's not my own for more than honestly 24 hours, but I'll be more reasonable and be like a week. I don't want that to be a thing that I explore and see in myself for extended periods of time. It's very important to me that 90% of the time I am looking at myself and seeing myself as beautiful. I don't want to start adopting the mentality that I look better when I am not myself. Again, that is not in judgment of other Black women. It is just me because I am very sensitive to the things that I retain, to the things that I see. I feel like if I see myself, if I get comfortable seeing myself in this hair texture, I'm going to start believing that I look better in it and start kind of rejecting the way that I naturally look. I want to see myself 90% of the time. I'll explore here and there, it's no big deal, but this can't be a thing that I do too much. I hope that makes sense. So I'm very cautious about it. And those precautions matter a lot to me. But yeah, I think those precautions are going to help me continue staying the course and feeling good about the way that I look and feeling good about my hair. It's also really helpful to explore with my locks in other creative ways. Like, I've never really done styles, and I'm super excited to do more styles that I have not done before, but I discovered this year that I can use my own locks to make my own headband. And I've been exploring a bunch of different ways of doing that, and it looks so pretty. It looks so cute. I've been wearing it to work and feeling so great. I love exploring with different accessories. I love exploring just with different styles that I've never seen before on myself. One of these days, maybe I'll try experimenting with bangs. I have never had bangs in my life. And I'm a little nervous about it because I feel like it's going to cover up, like, it's not going to cover up my eyes, but it's going to draw less attention to my eyes. And I feel like my eyes are such a beautiful part of my face. I don't want to draw attention away from it. Does that make sense? Because it's gorgeous. I feel like I want people to see. And it's kind of part of the reason why I want to start getting contacts, because I'm just like, I want people to see my eyes. I want people to see how gorgeous my eyes are because they are amazing. So yeah, I need to start looking into getting me some contacts for real, because my eyes are gorgeous. But yeah, that's kind of why I was kind of just like against the bangs. Maybe I'll explore that while I'm doing my hair. There's no way I'm gonna finish my hair. I don't know why I thought that I would finish styling my hair and doing all these twists before the end of this podcast. That's definitely not happening. But maybe if you're watching this on YouTube, maybe I'll give it a try by the end of today. I'll try experimenting and giving myself some lock knot bangs in the front and see if I like that. If I like it, I'll show you guys a picture. If I don't, you guys will see nothing. You will see nothing. But one last thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap up this little talk is the ways that I am excited to celebrate and reflect on the beauty of my locks through my art. Ooh, I completely forgot. There's this YouTuber. Her name is Star Puppy. She has her hair channel and she has a very, very interesting and compelling natural hair journey herself. But she calls her hair Fluff Nugget. I thought that was the most adorable thing ever. And I wanted to give my hair a name. At first, it was a little difficult to give my locks a name because it was hard for me to look at my locks as one singular entity because there's 79 of them on my head. So I was just like, how do I name my locks? It feels like I'm not just, I don't feel like it's just one thing. It feels like it's 79 individual things, you know? But I just started thinking about my locks and kind of just like the nature of how locks function and everything. And my locks remind me of a tree. And each lock is kind of like an individual root. You know how those roots kind of spread out in the ground so that the tree can grow. And also kind of like branches too. Like the top of my head is like the root. Like near my scalp, and the ends are like branches, little curls at the end. to act as leaves. And my hair kind of functions like a plant. Like, it doesn't need too much. It really needs just water and care, you know? You need to moisturize it with an oil of your choice, something light, and you just give it water, give it moisture, give it love, give it attention, talk to it positively. So I was just thinking, like, what if I named it? What if I named my locks Nature? I thought that was cute and kind of give it like its own little spelling. Like, just take off the E at the end and just be like, oh, Nature. So that's what I named her. And that just unlocked so much creativity for me because it just inspired me to start thinking of my hair as a living, breathing being that I am responsible to take care of instead of just this thing, this collection of dead cells on my head. And I think about the things, and because I see nature as a being instead of just my hair, I think about the ways I've treated her before, the ways that I slicked her down, bent her, burnt her, broke her down to try and obey a beauty standard that never truly was made for me. A beauty standard that it really didn't matter whether or not I would achieve or not. I was still a woman in this society. I'm going to be treated the way I'm going to be treated. And yeah, pretty privilege is kind of a thing, but it doesn't always protect you from misogyny because at the end of the day, you're still a woman. You know what I mean? So it didn't matter whether or not I met this beauty standard or not. But yeah, I tried so hard to meet it, to make that happen for me so that I could be beautiful, so that I could be accepted, so that maybe a boy would like me. And I just became so remorseful for being so lost. So I started writing. I started writing poetry and love letters to my locks, just reflecting on what I had done, but at the same time forgiving myself for not knowing any better. I was a kid, you know what I mean? And being grateful for how now I'm on a journey that can help me learn, that can help me grow, that can help me do better, to treat myself and my hair better, because that's what we both deserve. We both deserve to be treated better. We both deserve to feel beautiful. We both deserve to feel at peace with who we are, at peace with ourselves. And it was just like a pledge to making that commitment to doing that from now on. And that's what I mean when I say celebrating and reflecting on my locks through my art, through my writing, through my journaling, through my poetry. I'll probably start releasing a couple of poems about my locks soon. Thinking about how to do that. Maybe I'll make it available on my website. Maybe I'll make like some videos, some poetry videos. But I'm excited about that process too, about taking this poem and like taking the next steps in my content creation with that poem. Like, okay, how do I put this out there? What does that look like for me? But that's something I'm really excited about, and I've been really enjoying exploring. I'm so excited too to continue on my hair journey, to enjoy this ease, to enjoy this love, to enjoy this peace, while at the same time exploring my creativity at my own pace, at a pace that feels good to me, at a pace that is healthy for me. That I never forget who I am, and I never forget that I'm beautiful as I am. But yeah, I would say that this is the perfect place to end the podcast for today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me. If you're on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. And the same if you are listening to this podcast, be sure to let me know and engage. Let me know how you feel so that I can continue making the content that you enjoy. I hope that if you are a Black woman and you had a similar experience as I did, that this is healing for you as well as it is for me. And I am so happy that you are here. I want to encourage you wherever you are to keep healing and to keep creating. And I'll be right there alongside you all the way. So all of my love. Have a wonderful rest of your day and take care of yourself.